Welcome to the 7th quality update. Okay, straight into it with headlines. So we're now upwards of 271 accredited qualifications, bearing in mind that we could probably times that by 2.5 if we were to start to include non-accredited achievement in there. So that's a really good number. Looking at the total numbers of observations that we've got, it's now increasing up to the 39 mark, which is fantastic. Looking at how we're supporting staff across all areas of our department. And IQA on internally verified courses, so this is not candidates, this is courses, we are now exceeding 85. So if you can bear in mind all the different variants that come included in a course, we have done that as a team 85 times, which is just a really large amount of quality assurance that's been happening, and still more to come. Okay, so just pointing out here, this is the third time in a row now we've hit 8.8. So we could be speculative around the reasons why for that. Maybe we've got a lot of courses that are tying off now, and therefore the hope is that there'd be a wave of information and data coming through from their exit reviews. It could be that we are quite standardized and therefore we are hitting quite accurate numbers from our customers. And if that is the case, we want to be able to try and squeeze that extra 0.2 out of them and do a little bit more where we can, so we can hit our target, which is 9 out of 10. A snapshot overview of data. Second column shows last report, and third column shows current across central data, and then RAG rated. So green is above target or hitting target. Amber is too close to hitting or below slightly, and then red is a concern. So as you can see, numbers enrolled, fantastic amount of people coming through. We've dipped a bit on retention, so it's still above average by 5, nearly 6%. Attendance, again, it's still kind of above average, but it seems to be declining steadily. But the achievement rate is a bit of a problem at the minute. Okay, so retention, as I've just mentioned here, it's from a great start, but it's slightly declined there, but it's way above what our goal target is, and that's the grey line that you can see there. Just to let you know that these blue lines here are number of enrolled candidates. Okay, so there's a bit of a comparison that, as you can see, we've had a sharp increase in this time period here, and then we've got a dip in retention. That may well be down to who is coming onto the courses. Maybe they're new courses that we've got, and are they being so successful that they're leaving before the end of the date, or are they enrolling onto a course that is not actually suitable for them and then they're dropping out. Achievement, as mentioned, it's been a 12% drop here. I'm hoping that it's due to the timeliness of achievement. So what that means, as we've discussed in past, is that there are people still live on course that are nearly or coming towards the end of their date, and they just need to be signed off to then show final achievement. That achievement has happened before their end date, that would be timely. If we've got people who have gone past their end date and they've still not achieved, and we're working with them, then obviously that's beneficial to the candidate and to our data. But to the other side of things, financially and looking at timeliness of performance, that's not very good. So we'll look at that next report, and we'll hopefully be able to give a bit of clarity around that. Okay, so changing it up a bit, challenges first for our 4Cs. Just to get this out of the way, really, because it should be a really positive report. Assessment is a real big challenge that we're seeing currently. It's been identified around standardization meetings, so there's been discussion around this already, but it's important to make sure that we keep pushing the same message throughout all the channels. When you are looking to assess a candidate's evidence of learning, okay, against criteria, when they are looking at describing and explaining, we need to make sure that they're providing substantial amount of evidence to meet that criteria. Okay, it's got to be accurate, but when we're giving feedback, we can't just provide a kind of open statement, i.e., it was too short. Okay, generally that indicates that there was missing evidence, but it doesn't give enough feedback to say where or how much or what kind of focus it should be. All right, this is coming across in quite a few of our IVing documents at the minute. So if we could just focus on that, if you're not sure, you want a question, talk to each other. Alternatively, then come to your line managers or one of the quality team and get clarification. Even if it's the first one that you're doing and assessing, let us clarify something for you before you then continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. If we can get this right, then this should be a quick win. Okay. The next challenge at the minute is change. Okay, I think we're all feeling this throughout the whole department and probably in society at the minute. The key thing to all the changes, large and small, that are happening, especially in SSG, is proactive communication. We cannot say it enough. If you are falling behind with a deadline date, if you are struggling or concerned with a candidate's attendance, if you are worried about yourself and how you're performing, whatever it may well be that is challenging, you need to proactively communicate. Please, please do not wait until somebody approaches you, because then hindsight of that doesn't really help us as a team support you to solve the problem. Okay, ultimately, whatever we all do on a day-to-day basis for work, yes, has to be at the right standard. Yes, wants to be for our core values and culture, but ultimately it needs to be done. So if it's not done, it still needs to be done at a later date. Okay. Right, moaning over. Next C is championing. Okay. So there's been a substantial increase in the use of the quality email address. Seems really minor, but to myself, Steve, Jenna, and Priska, it's just game changing. So thank you for that. It eliminates a lot of confusion, and it really makes planning for Jenna, especially all the different moving pieces of the IQA process a lot easier and a lot transparent. So thank you for this and keep it going. The equal assessment, so rather than equal, it should be equal assessment and feedback. So Amy, well done, Amy. You're getting a big shout out for this. Steve has been monitoring that, and you've had a very quick transition to this new online platform. But he's saying that you've done a fantastic job of maintaining your high standards. Very few kind of feedback referrals needed, any advice or guidance. So well done. It's really good, Amy. So breaking new ground at the minute with our first ever new esol session. So Emma G, Service Area 1 Manager. Okay, getting a shout out on that for the first ever delivery. As you can see by the image there, it was looking at how we can incorporate basic everyday items, the words and the names of that with colours. Okay, very enjoyable, very interactive, and hopefully the first of many. Again, championing Mr. Baines' valve. Okay, we've got a nice quote there from his learning walk. This was an innovative task to involve candidates within the session. Okay, so using digital media and digital software and digital skills on the course and demonstrating himself being able to do that is really positive. I think we take it for granted that candidates just assume that we can do it. Well, if we can demonstrate that knowledge, they'll have a much greater buy-in to us as tutors and us as staff. Okay, that's a really fantastic quote there, Bob. Well done. So Diamond, one of our newest members of Service Area 1, I believe. Okay, recently just had a supportive observation and really nice quote in there, Diamond, around candidates were then asked to self-assess their knowledge of each learning outcome, 1 to 10, and then again at the end of the session, and then quoting through there. It's very pleasing to see the tutor doing this. So that's from Jenna there. So well done, Diamond. Okay, that checking of progress is really important. I couldn't miss this update without mentioning Mr. Cheevers. Okay, amazing example of high standard of delivery and knowledge within the JCP staff sessions. So this session was rolled out to 100 plus different JCP members of staff and really kind of educating those guys and bringing their skills and knowledge up to date around CVs and workshops, which is just fantastic, really. So congratulations for the shout out, Matt, even more so for the feedback that we continually keep getting from you. And then one of your peers as well, actually giving you a shout out on our WhatsApp, which is really good. Not leaving these two people out. Okay, so Priska has worked tirelessly behind the scenes with Jen over the last couple of years to really kind of upskill herself, working through qualifications and becoming a standalone IV now. And because of that, the knowledge that she now brings to practical application around what SVs, standard verifiers, are looking for, in particular around functional skills, means that we're now getting these reports from an area that has required improvement in the past. We're now getting no actions from. Okay, really well placed for the future, especially as we are growing in that area. And Priska, you've played a huge part in that, so well done. And nearly missed you there, Matty. Not so much on the quality side through IQA elements, but something which is of a high standard, and very well deserved shout out here, Matty. Stepped up in the role of lead for safeguarding at the Bedford Centre, whilst managers and senior staff were on a meeting day. There was an incident that could have been very serious, life-threatening. Matty didn't dismiss it, picked up on the details, made the relevant phone calls, ended up contacting local police forces and leading on organising the centre, remaining calm at all times. Just a great positive and professional approach, as always, Matty. And for myself, as lead for the company, just so reassuring that your experiences are really being influential in the front line now, which is fantastic. Okay, change now. Third C of our quality 4Cs. So the structure of assessment submissions, you should all know this, and some of you are probably going through this at this moment in time. You can only submit now evidence of learners' work and your assessment to the IQA processing on one of the 3 Mondays at the start of a month. Okay, as you can see there, if it is a bank holiday Monday, then that's just going to roll into a Tuesday. Okay, so this is just a reminder here about how all planned assessment needs to be submitted, and it has to be sent into the quality email. Obviously, already praised you guys for the increased use of that, so the message is hitting home how we do that. Just to reiterate, these are our final dates coming up of the year, or should I say academic year. Please make a note of that, and let's make sure wherever possible that we're hitting before deadline dates. Thanks. Change again. So the Google Drive coming through. 2 main shout outs go to Lisa and Charlie. Okay, they're leading on not just CPD sessions that you can see, but also a lot of behind the scenes due diligence, verifying the security of software, looking at how it fits into wider processes. And all the time they are doing this, they're doing it for one reason only, and that is to find efficiencies. Efficiencies, first of all, for you, to make sure that your job is easier to do and free up more time so you can work with the candidates. And then also for the candidates, that they then have an easier experience liaising with any kind of paperwork, assessments and learning. Okay, if you've had any involvement with this, or you're still included in this kind of involvement, a big thank you. Okay, keep proactive, keep talking to us all. We only know if it's working if you tell us. Likewise, if it's not, you need to tell us. Okay, so final C, we're on to checks now. So quality 4Cs of PDRs. So upcoming PDRs, there'll be a sample. I think I'm going to do myself around 20, random sample in the next couple of weeks. And then we're just going to look at the standard. We're looking at stress testing what we do. Is it fit for purpose? Is it good evidence of all the work and all the progression that the candidates are doing? And is it also fit for purpose for you guys? Is it being filled out? Is it done in a timely manner? And is it progressive? Okay. We're also going to be looking at a bit of time around the GCSE tag grades. So again, Matty, Matt Wilmot, and then Balv, shout out for you guys, because you have been working with your line managers and with Jenna on this. It has been a kind of a new era for us to read all this different kind of advice and guidance without actually being given the answers. All right. So it is well deserved for your effort. We still need to work as a team. We know what angles we need to come at, and we need to make sure that we look after our candidates, make sure that the grades are the ones that they truly deserve. Okay. People are getting sick of hearing this now, but it is important, guys, because this is totally linked to funding. If we do not have a matrix standard, we cannot access funding, and then we close. So annual inspection is on the 18th of June with myself. The next couple of weeks, all IEG elements will be being checked and evidence and collected. So if you see an email, try and raise it up your priority list. Just get it out the way, get it done. Don't leave it to the last thing on a Friday or at the end of an evening, because that only means that the people who are working with that information get less time to do what we need to do. Okay. So upcoming, as always, learning walks theme. So the theme, as mentioned earlier about the 4 C's, is candidates' personal development. Okay. How have they grown since they have been with us on a particular course? So as and when we are virtually, distance, or face-to-face learning walks, we are going to be looking at the following bullet points. Okay. And the key ones there that you can pick up on is about their independence, whether it be their development, their interaction, their character, their skills for employment. We're looking at the word personal. Okay, it's got to be independent to them. And again, PDRs will be associated with that. Final slide, and it's something that I've not done before. So all the work that goes on behind the scenes into quality and then is fed into a simple report, I'm just checking. So if you're reading and or listening, could you do the following action for me, please? When this finishes, could you email me, and my email address is there if you don't already know it, the phrase, "I've watched it." Okay. Once you've done that, just send it through to me, because I just want to test if this is a valuable way of communicating with you guys, if it's being utilized against what is going into it. And if it's not, are there other forms that we need to be using to make sure that all these messages I'm sending out there are not being missed by people? And there it is, as usual. Any questions at all? It's an open door policy for you guys as it is for us. So please send me an email, pick up the phone, or we'll have a social distance cup of tea. Any questions you've got the details. Thanks very much for listening, guys. I hope you have an enjoyable weekend and stay safe.